Hello and welcome to DryerDays Art Studio. I'm Catherine. Thank you so much for being here today. Well, in this video, I'm going to work on this black, silver, and white tray. And all of the products that I use in this video, you can find at DryerDaysArtStudio.com. I wanted to incorporate some crystal quartz points that you can see here and some texture into this tray. And I didn't really have a vision as far as if I wanted a marble look or a more abstract look. I just knew the colors that I wanted to use. And we'll get into my process here and see how this evolves. So I am going to be using Total Boats countertop resin. If you'd like to try their resin, I do have a discount code in the description below. And in the description below, you can find links to all of the products that I'm going to use in this video. And I'm going to go ahead and mix the rest of these off camera, but as I use them and incorporate them into the piece, I will let you know which pigment I'm using. And I'm just going to get started here with loading up some of my cups. This is the black pearl here. I'm going to kind of speed through this here real quick, putting in the gunmetal, white, and silver metallic. And like I said, as I incorporate them in, I will let you know which color is which. This wouldn't be a piece of mine if I didn't incorporate some glitter, so we're going to use some of my silver fine in here as well. And with all the colors mixed, we're ready to rock and roll. So this right here is that black pearl. You can see a beautiful, beautiful pearlescent black here. And I'm just going to start laying down these pigmented colors in sort of a random fashion. I will say that I mixed up about 14 ounces total for this mold. It probably could have taken maybe 15 or 16 ounces. That might be pushing it though. 14 seemed pretty perfect. This right here is my white pigment. And this is a pearlescent white. This is not my matte white. And again, just kind of drizzling it over. And this is the beautiful gunmetal. This is one of my favorite pigments. I love this color. I didn't want this piece to get too light. I knew I wanted it to be on the darker side. So I'm going to incorporate some more black back in there. I dumped out all of the white, as you saw, because I knew I wanted this to be darker. So I was like, let's just get rid of all the white right now. And then this right here is my silver metallic. And as you can see, I'm working with this when this resin is very fluid. I did not wait. I did not let this thicken up. I knew I wanted these colors to be married together. I wasn't trying to keep them too separated. And so I'm working right away with that mixed resin. And then just going to use some heat here to pop some bubbles and marry those colors together. And now we're going to add a little bit more black in, because like I said, I wanted this to be pretty dark. I'm just drizzling it all around, give us a really pretty abstract looking piece here. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I really like to drizzle clear on. You can see just drizzling it off the stick there, we're getting a layering look. Just gives some pretty effects in there, so I like to do that sometimes. So in my technique, what I like to do here when I'm making a bigger piece like this, or even an art piece, is I will use probably about 80 to 85% of my pigmented resin, as you saw in the beginning, to get that down in the mold or on the piece. And then I will use that extra 15% that I've left over and come in and do things like this. Either drizzle or just take that whole amount and kind of dump it in a certain area if I want to see more of that color. But this way it gives me something to work with. The only color that I completely dumped out in the beginning was the white, because I knew that I wanted this to be more of a black silver gray piece, but I did need some highlights in there. So you can see we're still maintaining some of that white in the background. You can still see it in the finished piece, but I knew I really wasn't going to need that white pearlescent. However, I did make a white matte color. I've been experimenting with some pigment paste that I'm hoping to bring to you all. As you might know, I've launched 2 pigment pastes already. I've named them color creams instead of pigment paste. So if you're in my store, there's 2 colors right now. There is a gold metallic and a really dark blue, and I'm working on bringing more to you. But I've also been experimenting trying to make the perfect white pigment paste, and it's been a challenge. It has been very challenging. And so actually in this piece here, I'm going to use one of the whites that I've been experimenting with to see how it works. And I rotated the piece there because I'm working on a different end of my table than I normally work on. I had a couple pieces going and I needed to work on a different end of my table, and I felt like the resin was really moving one way, that it maybe wasn't perfectly level. So as this was curing and firming up, I just rotated that piece a little bit to kind of help spread out that resin evenly. And now I'm using that silver fine glitter. And because I'm putting this on last, this has had a little bit of a chance to thicken up as well. So you're going to get more consistent lines with the glitter, and that way it won't spread out and just go everywhere. And I'm ready to let this piece sit and cure for a little bit. So as you can see, I'm going to put some little popsicle sticks just up under this side of the mold, because I could tell that this was the direction the resin was sort of pooling to, because this wasn't completely level. So if you have anything around your studio like that and you're having the same issue that I was having, I just tuck a couple sticks under there during the duration here where it's going to thicken up and cure, just so that all that resin isn't moving to this end of the mold. And to pop any micro bubbles and really add a little bit more of a marrying cool effect here, I am spritzing this. As you can see there, I just spritzed it with rubbing alcohol. You can see the resin already kind of contorting and moving and selling up a little bit. Some of this will settle out and it won't stay that way, but it does really help when you're trying to marry some of these colors together, and it really helps in getting a lot of those micro bubbles out when we're using silicone molds. The tray mold, it works great. Even I use it all the time in my coaster molds, since you really shouldn't use a torch or any open flame with your molds. That rubbing alcohol is a really nice substitute to help pop any bubbles. I will continue to work on this drizzling resin like this for about the next 5 minutes. So I'll do this, I'll use some rubbing alcohol. I really won't use any more heat, because once I use that rubbing alcohol, I don't like to use any more heat at all, since it is flammable. But just for time purposes, just so you can see how, I really take the time to work on this, to move things around, to incorporate pigments, make sure I'm using all my resin and really filling out this mold. We speed this up for time purposes and cut a lot out, but I did just want to let you know that I probably worked on this piece here for about 25 minutes total. I waited probably about 2 hours to put the crystal quartz points on, and I probably should have waited way longer. As a lot of you know, in my resin art pieces, when I'm using a canvas or a board, I will hot glue my stones down first, and obviously we can't do that on a tray, a silicone tray here. So as you saw there, it was really still too loose, so I gave it like another half an hour and came back down. And I'm also videoing myself there with my phone to put on Instagram. I did post this on Instagram, me working on this. But yeah, I probably really could have waited a little longer. The resin was still really, really soft, and these stones, as you can see, were not really holding up on their own. I had to really baby it, and I sat here for a while. I tried to use some of my pigment canisters to stand here and hold them up. And as you can see there, I am listening to a true crime podcast. I ask you guys sometimes what you like to listen to when you are doing art, and there you can see one of my favorites is Case File. It's a true crime podcast. I've been listening to a lot of different stuff lately, but Case File is kind of one I go back to, and I'm interested to know what you guys listen to when you're making art, so please comment and let me know what you like to listen to. So here, these are pretty much standing where they're going to stand. I gave it a little bit more time and came down to incorporate some crystal quartz chips as well as some silvermine. And again, all of this is available at DryerDaysArtstudio.com. I sell the pigments, I sell the stones, I sell the texture pieces. The only thing I'm not selling right now is the resin, but again, you can check out the video description on where you can get some good resin and even a discount code. I do always wear an Organic Vapors respirator. Please, please, please use protection when you are working with resin. As you can see here too, I always have gloves on. I know it's super cute and fancy and beautiful to make TikTok videos where we're demolding stuff and nobody has gloves on, but it's just not safe to do. And down the line, you can actually develop allergies to resin if you're not protecting yourself. So in this room that I'm working, I have my respirator, my gloves, and I actually have a window open as well. And it's Colorado, so it's cold. So I actually keep a space heater in there too to keep the room warm. I have a fan as well, but I choose not to use that just because I don't want it kicking up dust and getting dust into my pieces. So I'll get off the soapbox about that, but please, guys, please be using protection. You are working with resin, and if you're living in close quarters too with other people, I really do encourage that you're in a ventilated area just to keep everybody around you safe as well. So I'm just going to continue here incorporating some of these silver mine stones. And you can see me there. I had my respirator on. Even though this is curing up, you know, it does take resin about 24 hours to cure, and during that time it's still giving off vapors. So I will make sure I have my Organic Vapors respirator on at all times. If you guys are curious on where you can get some of this protective wear, I also link that as well in the video description. I have a lot of places at Amazon that I get a bulk of this stuff because I can get it in a couple days. It's relatively inexpensive. And so I link all that below for you guys as well. And I'm an Amazon affiliate, so anything you purchase through those links helps my channel out tremendously, and it costs nothing for you except what you are choosing to buy to protect yourself in your studio. Okay, so the fun part, we're going to demold here, and this is after about 24 hours. Now this mold is not very deep. It's only about 1/4 inch deep. I've had people even confirm and double check that with me because they don't think that that seems deep enough for a tray. I will say this is a really nice depth for this shape, and I really like this tray a lot. You can get this mold at DryerDaysArtStudio.com as well. It's a pretty popular seller, and I have even the handles too if you want to add handles to the tray. But what I want to mention about this is 1/4 inch deep is pretty deep for resin. Some resin you can only pour at 1/8 of an inch deep, or it doesn't cure properly. So when I'm making a larger tray like this, I will still demold at about that 24-hour mark, but I will let this lay flat for a good 7 days before I do anything with it. You can still come in and add any silver lines or edging if you want, but I still do recommend that you let it lie flat for another 7 days at least to really let it cure up nice and flat. Get nice and sturdy and hard for you. So here is just another video again of the finished product. I love it. I think it's so pretty. I think this would be gorgeous in like somebody's bathroom, and you could set some of your toiletries on here and then also use the crystal quartz points to put any of your jewelry like rings on and things like that. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, you guys. It really helps me out, and it's totally free for you to do. Come check me out on Instagram at DryerDays. If you want to further support my channel, you can check out my Patreon, how you can do that. That is linked in the description as well. Thank you again, guys, so much, and until next time, keep on pouring.